I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, I'm going to address a number of questions that I've had over the last month or so from my viewers. Every now and again, I like to go and call this viewer's mailbag. I try and answer as many of them I can, but so let's go into some here that I've had recently, and I'll rapid fire some of these off. So I had a viewer ask me about what is the better deal. They're thinking about buying a principal residence, and they're torn between buying a 20-year-old condo in Vancouver near Joyce SkyTrain station, or buying a brand new unit out in Surrey. And what is going to give them the better appreciation, and where should they buy? Well, my answer to this is, when you're buying a principal residence, a rising tide will lift all boats, so to speak. So over the next 10 or 15 years, both those properties are going to appreciate. But you never should base a principal residence purchase solely on what's going to give me the best appreciation. When you're buying a principal residence, you want to buy something where you want to live. If you want to live in Vancouver, and let's say you work downtown, I would buy something closer to where you work, as opposed to buying something out in the Fraser Valley with long commute times. You have to factor those kind of things in. So in my opinion, I think when you're buying a principal residence, put the appreciation and what's going to be the best investment off to the side. Buy your principal residence based on where you want to live. Where are you going to enjoy living the most? What is going to be the best situation for your commute times and your family and friends, and when you're going out on your downtime? That's what I would base my purchase on, because both of those will probably appreciate quite nicely, although I'm kind of partial to Vancouver. When someone says, should I buy if it boiled down to buying a brand new condo out in the suburbs somewhere, or buying an older condo downtown. Well, if you work downtown and most of your time is spent downtown, then I would buy in downtown Vancouver, because I do think over time you will get a bit better appreciation on it. For the simple fact that out in the suburbs, there's still more buildable land out there. There's still developable land that can be developed and built. In Vancouver, like I've been blogging about for a long time now, it's getting limited. The window is closing on what people would call affordable condos, and most people wouldn't call $600K for a junior one-bedroom very affordable. But I can tell you, in 20 years, that $600K is going to seem like a bargain. So, and what's coming online for downtown Vancouver from this point on is only going to be high-end luxury units. So that window is closing. But so much of it depends, as again, on lifestyle and where you want to live. That should always be at your priority list for when you're buying a principal residence. If it's an investment condo, then you've got a little more leeway there. But my advice on investment condos that I've always followed is, I only want to buy investment condos that are within it's getting longer and longer, but within a 30-minute drive to where I live. I live in downtown Vancouver, and I've got properties in Richmond. I've had opportunities to buy stuff further out, but because I manage my own properties, I like to keep my properties close. Because when you do have a tenant turnover, or when you do have to do some repair work or go out to the unit, I don't want to be in a 2.5 hour commute round trip. I tend to like to have my units, within a 30 or 35-minute drive of where I live. That's just me. But something to consider anyways. The other thing I want to talk about, I get a lot of people that will email me or message me or on Twitter or whatever, asking me to comment on specific stocks. Oh, and I'm thinking about buying this stock or that stock. Is that a good buy, or should I buy that, or what have you? I'm not a financial planner, nor do I play one on TV, and I simply do not have the time to get into stock recommendations. I'm a realtor. That's why I wrote my book. I give you guys my portfolio in the back, which is a good starting point for people to consider the type of portfolios, the one I hold, and what you might want to build as well. Although the caveat there is, I've talked about it, a lot of the companies I own in my portfolio, some of them I'm continuing to buy, but others are quite expensive now and may not be the best time to get into them. I'm still holding them, but the PE ratios have gotten up over 30 on some of these, may want to wait for a pullback. But at least it gives you an idea of what the kind of companies I hold. And in my book, I talk about how I value companies, the PE ratio, the dividend payout ratio, etc. I also give you some resources in my book, some websites that I use. And, you know, you can go onto a site like Reddit. There's a guy in there, I think his name is Joshua Kenyon. And on Reddit, he, for about 7 or 8 years, did the basics of stock investing. He posted a couple of posts every week or a couple a week. You can get a university education on Reddit by just going in there and reading his 400 or 500 posts. And he covers everything on how to value a stock, how dividend stocks work, the PE ratio, the dividend payout ratio, the taxes on holding stocks. So, you know, buying stocks, I can't recommend a stock to you because I would need to sit down with someone and get, for at least 20 minutes, to get some information from someone before I could ever recommend a stock, because a lot of it depends on your age. You know, if a guy is 21 or 22 years old looking to start investing, the first thing I would suggest for most people is simply buy an index fund, the ETF. Buy the S&P 500 and buy the TSX 60 index. That probably your first $100,000 in your RRSP and your TFSAs should probably go into a blend of 50-50 into US and Canadian stocks via the broad index. After that, if you've got a little bit of play money and you want to start buying individual stocks, then go ahead. But you have to learn this stuff. You can't be spoon-fed it. You're going to have to go on sites like Reddit, Yahoo Finance, Seeking Alpha, which is a fantastic investment website, and learn these things. You can't, as they say, get spoon-fed it. You've got to learn it on your own. And a lot of it depends on your age. That's why I talk about, you know, when these phone-in shows on BNN and CNBC, they'll talk about a stock. A guy will call in, well, what do you think of Bell Canada? And they'll say, oh, Bell Canada, I don't own it, I would sell it. You know, the telecom business is in free fall. I don't see a lot of potential there. Well, Bell Canada might not be a great stock for a 20-year-old who's got 40 years of investing ahead of him. It's kind of a sleep at night, solid dividend paying stock. But it's perfect for a guy who's in his 60s or 70s, who's looking to collect a fantastic dividend payment that's safe. You're going to get some appreciation over time, but not a whole lot. It's more of a preservation of capital type holding. And it's fantastic in a cash account where you get the Canadian dividend tax credit. But for a young guy who's just starting out, most of his money should go into just buying the index. And if you want to experiment a little bit more, then for sure, go into a little bit more growth-oriented stocks like a Visa or a Costco or a Home Depot. Amazon if you want, although it's pretty expensive. So there's no one size fits all, and it's why, unfortunately, I cannot respond back to people that want me to start talking about individual stocks. A, I don't have the time for it, and B, that's why I wrote my book, as a start or an introduction into getting into it. So I hope this helps. Again, I try and answer some of the questions that you guys send me. Feel free to post some stuff on my YouTube channel here. I'll try and get around to it and answer them over the course of the next 6 or 7 months, or every month or so anyways. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.